Hello, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Nehru, and you are tuned in to The Encourager. We are, truthfully, this time around, going to get started or get going again with the Book of Enoch and continue forward from chapter 76 to chapter 80. Okay. And so, thank you so much, everyone, subscribers and new listeners. Welcome in. Thank you so much, new subscribers, for returning. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get going on this book that has been removed from the Bible. As we know, those of you who have listened in to prior readings, we know that Enoch is going through an ascension. And throughout that process, he is being shown various portals where he's being teleported, transported to understand why the sun exists, how the sun exists, how the moon exists, the other stars and astrological signs in the sky and in the galaxy, why they exist. Where that power comes from, how does the sun rise every day, how does the moon set every day, and he's learning all of these processes and how all of these are portals and angels are assigned to each and every one of these. So there are angels assigned to make sure that the sun rises up in its portal every single day, as an example. Okay. And so he's learning all these things, and then he returns back to Earth, or at least back to the 3D, and he shares this wisdom, this knowledge with those who are around him. Okay, and he also has angels helping him. He has Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Raguel, Archangel Azrael. I think Archangel Ariel's name has been mentioned, and Archangel Michael's name is mentioned very often. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going with chapter 76. Okay. And on the ends of the earth I saw for all the winds 12 portals opened, from which the winds come and blow over the earth. 3 of them are open on the face, i.e. the east of the heavens, and 3 in the west, and 3 on the right, i.e. the south of the heaven, and 3 on the left, i.e. the north. Third verse. And the first 3 are those towards the east, and the 3 towards the north, and the 3 behind those which are on the left, towards the south, and 3 in the west. Through 4 of these come winds of blessing and of peace, and through those 8 come winds of injury. When they are sent, they bring destruction to all the earth, and to the water on it, and to all those who dwell on it, and to everything that is in the water and on the land. Okay? And so he's speaking about, I don't know, I imagine the cause for tsunamis and things of that nature, the cause of earthquakes and things of that nature. He's speaking about those portals and where does that come from? Where does that energy come from? Okay. Okay, verse 5. And the first wind from these portals, which is called the eastern, comes forth from the first portal, which is towards the east, inclining towards the south. Out of it comes destruction, dryness, and heat, and death. Sounds like desert, right? And through the second middle comes forth the right mixture. There comes forth rain, fruitfulness, and peace, and dew. So I think this is talking about different parts of the planet. Okay, so we have desert plains, we have valleys, we have mountains, right? We have fruitful lands, and then we have lands that are desolate and on which you cannot grow much of anything. Okay, verse 6. And through the second middle portals comes forth the right mixture. there comes forth rain and fruitfulness and peace and dew. And through the third portal, which is towards the north, comes forth cold. I have to scroll down here. Comes forth coldness and dryness. And after these, the winds towards the south come forth through three portals. Firstly, the first portal of them, which inclines towards the east, there comes forth the wind of heat. And from the middle portal, which is beside that one, there comes forth a sweet incense and dew and rain and peace and life. And through the third portal, which is towards the west, there come forth dew and rain and grasshoppers and destruction. One of the interesting things that happened while I was still in Central Florida last year is one of the manifested things that happened at the house that I was renting is there is a grasshopper, and I believe it's called, is it a lobber? I believe it's called a lobber grasshopper, okay? And these grasshoppers are, every creature is phenomenal. They are amazing in their transformation. When they go from the newborn grasshopper, which they are almost completely black, then they have like a little line. They have a couple of color distinctions on them from the black. They have like an orange line going down the middle, but not much else, right? But then they grow and they shed their skin. And when they shed their skin, they become this enormous locust-like yellow and black thing, and it's amazing, right? But they stand for abundance. They represent manifested abundance and promise, and literally the house and yard were covered with it, with these, literally to the point to where people were stopping at the house and to look at them because there were so many on the house. True story, okay, about grasshoppers. So, all right, so verse 13. And from the middle portal there come forth dew and rain. And by the way, the name on the, I'm saying lobber grasshopper. I believe that's correct. I believe that's correct. And last portal, which is toward the south, there come forth dryness and destruction, burning and death. Thereby the 12 portals of the four portals directions of heaven are completed, and all their laws and their destruction and their virtues I have showed to you, my son Methuselah. I screwed a little too far there. Okay, here we go. Chapter 77. They call the first wind the eastern because it is the first. They call the second the southern because the Most High descends there, and especially does the Blessed One in eternity descend there. And the name of the west wind is the diminishing, because there the luminaries of the heavens diminish and go down. And the fourth wind, called the north, is divided into 3 parts. One of them is for the dwelling of men, and the second for the seas of the water, and for the valleys, and for the woods, and for the streams, and for the darkness, and for the fog. And the third part, which with the garden of justice. I saw, verse 4, 7 high mountains, which were higher than all the mountains which are on the earth. And from them there comes forth hoarfrost, and days and times and years cease and depart. I saw 7 rivers on the earth, larger than all the rivers. One of them, coming from the west, empties its waters into the great sea. And two of them come from the north to the sea, and empty their water into the Eurythrian Sea, I think is how that's, yes, Eurythrian Sea, in the east. But the other 4 come from the side, then north over the sea, 2 of them to the Eurythrian Sea, and 2 empty in the great sea, according to others in the desert. I saw 7 great islands in the sea and on the land, 2 on the land, and 5 in the great sea. Chapter 78. Let me scroll up some. The names of the sun are these. The first are Osiris, the second Thomas, and the moon has 4 names. The first Asanja, the second Ebla, the third Benasse, the fourth Ire. These are the 2 large luminaries. Their current is like the current of heaven, and in size both are equal. And in the circuit of the sun there is a 7th portion of light, from which some even given to the moon according to a measure it is added till the 7th portion of the sun is ended. Okay, so the sun gives some illumination even to the moon. Okay, and they set and enter the portals of the west, and go around the north, and come out of the portals of the east on the surface of the heavens. And when the moon is raised, she is seen in the heavens, having in herself the half of the 7th part of the light, and in 14 days her light is completed. Also, 3 times 5 portions of light are put into her. Scroll down some more. Light are put into her, so that on the 15th day her light is completed according to the sign of the year, and it becomes 3 times 5 portions, and the moon becomes so by the half of the 7th part, right? So what it's doing is it's talking about half moons, full moons, crescent moons, right? That's what it's taking us through, all those different moon cycles, okay? And in her decrease on the first day, she decreases to the 14 parts of her light, and on the second, she decreases to the 13 parts, and on the third, she decreases to 12 parts, and on the fourth, she decreases to 11 parts, on the 15th, she decreases to 10 parts, and so on and so forth, and it goes all the way down to, and on the 13th, she decreases down to 2 parts, and on the 14th, she decreases down to the half of the 7th, so full cycle back around, okay? And her light, which was left on the whole, disappears altogether on the 15th day. Verse 9, and in certain months the moon has time 29 days, and once 28. And Uriel showed me another law, and that's Archangel Uriel, showed him another law, when the light is added to the moon, from which side of the sun it is added. All the time in which the moon continues in her light, she increases opposite the sun till on the 14th day. Her light is completed in heaven, and when she shines in full, that's full moon, her light is completed in the heavens. And on the first day, she is called the new moon. See? For on the day, the light is raised upon her. So we just had a new moon. We just had a new moon, I think, on maybe the 17th. Maybe 21st. Somewhere around there. Okay? And we are getting ready to go into our first Mercury retrograde on April 1st. And it lasts the majority of the month of April. So expect April to be an interesting month. Not that any other month isn't, but Mercury retrogrades are typically a little more challenging because it's times, if you could think of Mercury retrogrades as, and I think we have 4 of them this year. If you could think of Mercury, maybe 3, Mercury retrogrades as spiritual hurricanes or earthquakes or tornadoes, that's what they are. They come to root up anything, stir up anything that is not firmly planted or needed anymore. Okay, that's what Mercury retrogrades do. And so that's what this one's going to do. That's here from April 1st until April 24th. That's what it's going to do. All right. And so let's go ahead and continue here. We are on, I think, verse 13. Yes. And she is completed exactly on the day the sun descends in the west, and when at night she ascends from the east and shines all night till the sun rises opposite her, and the moon is seen opposite the sun. All right, so we know what that is. Sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset. Right? We know. We call them sunrise and sunset, right? But the moon's rising and setting is incorporated into that. No one ever refers to it as the moon set, moon rising. Everyone calls it sun rising and sunset. Okay. So whence the light of the moon, verse 14, whence the light of the moon comes, there again she decreases till all her light disappears, and the days of the moon cease, and her circuit remains empty without light. And 3 months she makes 30 days in her time, and 3 months she makes each time 29 days. Again, we talked about the moon cycle when we went through our zodiac signs in the moon. If you're interested in that playlist, that is available on the channel. If you go to the playlist tab, you can find that playlist there, Living by the Moon. Okay. And where are we at here? Verse 15. And 3 months she makes 30 days in her time, and 3 months she makes each time 29 days, in which she makes her decrease in the first time and in the first portal for the 177 days. And in the time of her departure, she is seen each time 30 days during 3 months, and each time 29 days during 3 months. At night, verse 17, she appears each time as a man 29 days, and during the day like the heavens, for there is nothing in her except her light. Says as a man 29 days. That's really interesting. So chapter 20, or not 29, 79. Chapter 79. And now, my son Methuselah, I have showed you all things. And by the way, Enoch is also Archangel Metatron, by the way. And so, and I just thought to mention that when I saw Methuselah's name again and thought about his lineage and that sort of thing. So chapter 39, or 79. I keep wanting to say some other number. And now, my son, Methuselah, I have showed you all things, and the whole law of the stars is completed. And he showed me all their laws of every day and for every time and for every government and for every year and her departure according to her order in each month and in every week. And the decrease of the moon which takes place in the sixth portal, for in the sixth portal her light is completed, and from then there is the beginning of the month. Also, the decrease which takes place in the first portal in its time till the 177 days are completed in the law of weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. And how she tarries behind the sun, and according to the law of the stars, 5 days in one time exactly. And that's an eclipse. And when this place which thou dost see is completed, this time, this is the picture and the portrait of each luminary which the great angel Uriel, who is their leader, showed to me. Chapter 80. And in those days Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have showed thee all things, O Enoch, and have revealed to thee that thou shouldest see this sun and this moon, and those who lead the stars of heaven, and those that revolve their deeds and their times and their departures. And in the days of the sinners, the years will be shortened. Okay, so again, when Methuselah's years ended, that ended man's longevity. Okay, because at Methuselah ended, one of the curses that man picked up at the flood was the shortened of years. Okay, and so that's what we're reading here. Okay, and that was at Noah's time. Methuselah is Noah's grandfather, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so, in the days of the sinners, the years will be shortened, and their seed will be tardy on their lands and on their meadows, and everything on the earth will change and will not appear in its time. The rain will be prevented, and the heavens will retain it. And in those times, it's just speaking of feast and famine type of thing. And in those times, the fruit of the earth will be tardy and will not grow in its time, and the fruit of the trees will be prevented in its time. And the moon will change her order and will not appear in her time, and in those days it will be seen on the heavens that a great unfruitfulness will come on the outermost chariot in the west. And she will shine more brightly than according to the order of light. So the darkness during that time will outshine the light, will overshadow the light. Okay, and many of the leaders of the stars of command will err, and they will change their paths and deeds, and those subject to them will not appear in their time. Okay, and the whole order of the stars will be kept from the sinners. Okay, so the order of the stars is the truth. Okay, you can see that as your Akashic records, but that's the truth. That's the order of the stars. Okay, and The thoughts of those who dwell on the earth will err concerning them, and they will be turned from them all their ways, and will err and consider them gods. Sounds like today. And evil will increase over them, and punishment will come upon them to destroy them all. And I think I'm going to let's keep reading, actually. Chapter 81, and we're at 25 minutes. And he said to me, O Enoch, contemplate the writing of the tables of heaven, and read what is written thereon, and learn each one. And I contemplated everything on these tablets of heaven, and read everything that was written, and learned everything, and read the book, and everything that was written in it, all the deeds of men, and all the children of the flesh, who will be on the earth to the generation of eternity. Again, Akashic Records. And then I immediately blessed the Lord and the everlasting King of glory, that he had made all the things of the earth. And I blessed the Lord on account of his patience, and blessed him on account of the children of the world. And at that time I said, Happy the man that dies as a just and good one, concerning whom there is no book of iniquity written, and against whom no blame is found. So the man whose hands is clean and heart is pure, blessed is that man, and who dies that way. And verse 5, those three holy ones brought me and placed me on the earth before the door of my house, and said to me, Announce everything to thy son Methuselah, and show to all thy children that no flesh is just before the Lord, for he has created them. 1 year we will leave thee with thy children, till thou art again strengthened, that thou mayest teach thy children, and write for them, and mayest testify before them all thy children, and in the 2nd year they will lift thee up out of their midst. Verse 7, Let thy heart be strong, for the good will announce justice to the good. The just will rejoice with the just, and will congratulate themselves among themselves. And the sinner will die with the sinner, and the renegade sink down with the renegade. And those who do just will die on account of the deeds of men, and will be gathered in on account of the deeds of the impious. And in those days they completed conversing with me, and I went to my people, blessing the Lord of the worlds. Okay, and so we'll go ahead and stop there at chapter 81. Okay, so thank you so much as always for tuning in and listening to more of the Book of Methuselah. As we can see, the Book of Enoch. We were just talking about Methuselah. So as we can see here, Enoch is witnessing numerous places in history, numerous events in history, through numerous eyes. He's witnessing conversations, right? And he's having conversations with his ancestors, and it's quite an interesting journey, and we can glean from this the possibilities that you and I have okay, spiritually, to communicate with our ancestors and to time travel in this way. Again, if time travel isn't possible, how do you explain deja vu? No one still has an answer for me for that one. So really, really, really insightful to see and enlightening to see, even having experienced some of this myself, one, that I'm not the only one, and what man has tried to hide from us really is the truth, and there is legitimacy to the reason why it's called a matrix and it's called a program, and the TV's a program, and they hand out church programs, and there's a reason for that. Okay? Yeah, there's a reason for that. So, anyway, thank you so much as always, like I said, for tuning in. My name is Nehru. You've been tuned into The Encourager, and we have just finished up chapters 76 through 81 of the Book of Enoch, one of the hundreds of lost books that have been, or alleviated books, I'll say. They're not lost. Alleviated books from your Bible. Thank you so much, and tune in again soon.